Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope that you're doing well, staying safe and healthy out there. And in today's video, I will be giving my thoughts and recap of episode 7 of Mystic Pop-Up Bar that just came up on Netflix today. Episode 7 is very cute and I really enjoyed it since in this one we get to see Sung-jae dance a little bit. The dance competition finally comes around and we also get a little more insight into that mysterious guy that we saw in the previous episode that was watching Gui and Sung-jae when they were cleaning up outside of the pop-up bar. So all of that is revealed to us in this episode and more. So with that little teaser, let's get into what happens in the episode. We start off with Sung-jae running to where the pop-up bar is usually at, but it's not there. And he calls for Gui and Woo-ju, but of course no one answers and he's just very distraught since he can't find them anywhere. In the last episode, we saw them break an afterlife law by stealing a conception dream bubble from Samson, and they were suspended and the pop-up bar taken. So Sung-jae's in the living world and has no idea what's happened to Woo-ju or Gui, who are right now in the afterlife talking with the god of the underworld. And, you know, how much trouble are they really in? The god of the underworld ends up giving them 120 hours of community afterlife service, but the woman who they helped and gave that conception dream to will get to keep her baby, which is good, but it's not going to count towards Woo-ju's quota. So Woo-ju is obviously upset by this and also tries to see if there's a quicker punishment rather than 120 hours of community service, since she doesn't have a lot of time left to make her quota, and this is obviously gonna burn up a good chunk of it. Now, this of course pisses off the god of the underworld, like, you take what I give you, what is this, an ice cream shop kind of thing? You want some 13 flavors of punishment here, and Gui stops Woo-ju from talking more, agrees to the community service, and they get into doing it. We then see them doing their community service by helping the reincarnation grade rating committee, and here we see how it's decided how you're reincarnated in the afterlife. So apparently you get either an A, B, or C grade, A being reincarnated into another person, usually with a better life than you had before, B being reincarnated into an animal, C an insect. And once this is decided, you're then taken to the shower of oblivion where all your memories are removed, and then you go back down to the living world and your spirit goes into the person, the animal, whatever that is about to be born. And that's how you're reincarnated. Now, obviously, if you are reincarnated into another person, that usually means that you led a good life, and that's sort of your reward. And if you didn't live the best life, or maybe you weren't bad but you weren't good, you're more likely to be reincarnated as an animal, or if you were just a horrible person, you get to be a bug. So we are sort of given the information as to how the committee chooses what grade you receive. So for instance, we see a group of firemen get A grade, and because they worked so well together in this new life when they're reincarnated, they're gonna come back together and become a popular boy band. While Gui and Woo-ju are cleaning up and having a break in the afterlife break room, Woo-ju mentions how she would really enjoy going into that shower of oblivion and being able to forget everything and being reincarnated, since having those memories for 500 years has kind of been torture for her. Like, there's been nothing good in her life and all she has is these bad memories that she has had to live with all this time. Like, isn't that punishment enough? Gui asks if there's anything that was good in her life, maybe a little someone. He gave the little heart. The only person that she mentions is her mother and how she still misses her, and he reminds her that she could still be around her and her not know it. After this, Woo-ju goes to cleaning the library where she starts to read the records of people and who or what they were reincarnated into, and this is when she thinks to check and see what happened to her mother and if she was reincarnated and if she's living today. However, her name is super common and there seems to be too many for Woo-ju to look through. So as she's giving up and walking through the stacks, she finds the book that keeps the record of the royal family and their reincarnations. So we see her look up the prince, but before she can go to his page and see who he reincarnated into, Gui pops in saying that the god of the underworld wants to see them, which is convenient, if I might say so. Meanwhile, we see Kang-bae working at the grocery store and still distracted and worried about Woo-ju and Gui. And this is when Yuri comes to talk to him about the dance competition. Since his shift is almost over, she figured now would be a good time. She asks why he missed their practice the night before, and he gives her a vague answer, which she responds with, "Why are you being so vague with your answer?" And she thinks that maybe it's because she didn't answer his text that he sent after they saw the movie. And she says to him now that she did see it, but she fell asleep before she could respond. And she says that she's sorry that she didn't respond to it, but that she saw it. Distracted, obviously, and still worried about Woo-ju and Gui, he responds that he completely forgot that she had ghosted him and tells her that he's a little too busy with CIA stuff to rehearse. Later, while Yurin is talking to her roommate about what happened, her roommate says that with how he responded after that date, that Kang-bae may be a player, and her roommate also suggests that she should just go and kiss Kang-bae before Yurin actually starts to have feelings for him, since, you know, it seems like when she starts liking the guy, that's when things start going downhill. So why not use this guy for some kissing practice? I mean, her roommate kind of roasts her and is like, "Do you want to die a virgin? Because this is how you die a virgin," kind of talk, which I was like, dang, roommate, you're mean. But also, I think that Yurin really needs a talking to. So I'm glad that she has somebody there to just be straightforward with her. Meanwhile, in the afterlife, the god of the underworld has asked Woo-ju and Gui to meet and talk with her, and it seems that she has a favor to ask. Apparently, while trying to quickly reply back to the Jade Emperor, who is basically God, she accidentally replied back to him instead of her friend Samson, basically bad-mouthing him. And as she's trying to apologize in text form to him, her phone dies. So as she's rushing around the office to find a phone charger and to plug it in and reply to the Jade Emperor, she accidentally unplugs the shower of oblivion while a person is in it. And because their supervisor wasn't there at the same time, they end up going back down to earth with their memories, and now they can't be found. So there's an evil spirit that's out there, and it's the god of the underworld's fault, basically. Gui asks if this is really why they were forced into community service, since apparently even though they broke the rules, he did think it was strange that they were given community service instead of something else. But the god of the underworld swears it was just a coincidence, so it just happened that they were there performing community service and this happened so she can have them help. After some negotiation, Woo-ju agrees under the terms that they get the bar back, they don't have to do any more community service, and she gets 10 days added to her time left, as well as helping this spirit is included in her quota. All parties agree to these terms, and Woo-ju and Gui go back to the living realm where they meet up with Kang-bae, who's super happy to see them and know that they're okay, and they go and try to find the evil spirit. So we find out that the evil spirit had died by getting hit by a car while running away from some loan sharks, and while alive was always gambling and trying to win that one big score instead of actually working to make his money, and because of this hadn't led a good life. I mean, he was always losing money, borrowing money, not giving it back, and just generally having a gambling addiction and not being a good person. We see him asking his friend for money, who at first says no because he knows what he's going to use it for, but his friend eventually says that he'll help. But while at the fruit shop, which is where his friend works, we see the spirit think that his friend has ratted him out to the thugs because the thugs appear suddenly, and you see both his friend and the thug boss on their cell phone as if they're calling one another. And then obviously after this, he's running from the thugs and gets hit by the car. Because he did not live the best life, the committee tells him that they're going to give him a grade of B and that he's going to be reincarnated into a chicken to bring joy and happiness to others. Now, because he has his memories, he just can't go into the egg that he's supposed to, since he's worried he's going to be eaten immediately. And he's kind of right. since he's still in spirit form, he sees an older gentleman come in to collect the egg. However, the older man slips for some reason and falls, knocking himself unconscious, and the spirit decides to invade this guy's body because it's better than becoming a chicken. We find out later that he's the chairman of the grocery store that Sung-jae works at and is a really good guy. However, since the spirit has now invaded his body, we see him taking advantage of being wealthy, but in a not good way. He goes to his friend's fruit shop and hires the thugs who had been after him to rough up his friend, since he thought that his friend had been working with the thugs to turn him in. So he kind of was like, I'll teach him a lesson. Yeah, I'm gonna ruin his life a little bit, which isn't nice. Sung-jae and Gui find out about the chairman by Sung-jae using his gift to get the chickens to tell them what happened. Oh. It worked! And Gui, I guess, speaks chicken and was able to interpret what the hen said after Sung-jae touched it. Since they don't have access to the bar, but they need him to drink the Sung-jae, Sung-jae comes up with the plan to win the dance competition and ask for his wish to be having a drink with the chairman at Sung-jae's apartment. It seems that every year the chairman will grant a wish to each employee who wins the competition at the store, so he's going to use this to their advantage. After the plan has been made, we have a scene with Death and someone who works with him. And Death mentions how they're still unable to find the evil spirit that's been missing for a while and how it keeps disappearing, like they keep losing the spirit. The Jade Emperor was also getting on to the god of the underworld about this earlier in the episode during the frantic text messaging, and it seems this evil spirit has been hard to track down for a while. As they talk about the spirit, we come to see from an image on the iPad that it's the friend of the Crown Prince and the guy who was watching Gui and Sung-jae outside of the pop-up bar last episode. We are then taken to Sung-jae and Yurin, who are rehearsing for the competition. Sung-jae rehearsing like a madman since he has to win the competition for their plan to work. Yurin is curious as to why he's suddenly so determined, since previously he said he didn't have time, and at first thinks it might be because of her, but after she says this out loud and he's sort of surprised by her saying that, she quickly realizes that that's not the case and is sort of embarrassed for thinking that in the first place. As we see them rehearse, we see that Yurin is thinking about what her roommate said about kissing him, and we get some really interesting close-ups of his lips from her point of view. And in the end of the dance, after they do the little dip, you know, last time Sung-jae dropped her, this time he didn't, and she gets really flustered by the whole situation. Now, even though Sung-jae is practicing hard, Woo-ju wants to really make sure that they win, so she and Gui go about sabotaging the competition a little bit. We see Gui attempt and fail at his sabotaging mission and end up spending the entire time in the bathroom, since I guess the medicine he tried to slip in someone's drink makes you go to the bathroom a lot. But Woo-ju is able to knock the others out of the competition by sabotaging the other costumes in different ways, and poor Gui ends up accidentally drinking the drink he concocted and again was in the bathroom for a while. Having tummy troubles is always annoying and exhausting and dehydrating. So besides the couple that Gui failed to sabotage, Sung-jae and Yurin are the only couple able to complete their dance, which was super cute to watch, and you can tell that he is part of a K-pop band. So the plan works and they win the competition, and Sung-jae asks that his wish be that he has a drink with the chairman at his apartment, where there, Woo-ju and Gui join them as his aunt and uncle, I believe. They definitely call her aunt. They don't say that Gui is the uncle, but I'm just sort of piecing those together, that that's who they were pretending to be. Once the chairman drinks the Sung-jae, the spirit is now in the dream world, and he is taken back to when he is hit by the car and finds out things about his friend, the thugs, that he didn't know about since it all happened after he died. He's taken to the thugs' hideout by a trail of money on the ground that he follows and picks up, since he's all about making that easy money. And it seems that his friend didn't rat him out, which I kind of saw coming a mile away. And the main thug boss actually says out loud, and he overhears, that his friend has been paying off his debt for a good while now and paying the interest off, and just overall he really likes the fruit stand guy and doesn't fully understand why this guy was friends with the evil spirit. This is also when he finds out that the thug just conveniently was walking by and was wanting some fruit, and that's why he was there. He wasn't actually there thinking he was gonna find the evil spirit, who was alive at this time, obviously. I'm just calling him evil spirit because it's a little easier to differentiate that way. So he then goes to his friend's fruit stand where you see him talking with his girlfriend. So it seems that his friend has felt like he's owed him for many years because when they were younger, he moved out of his home to help the fruit stand guy pay for his mother's surgery. And because of that, he feels like he owes the spirit his life, including his money. And that's why he's been paying off his friend's debt, which has led to him having to quit school, not get a new truck for his business. He even took money out of his savings for him and his girlfriend's wedding. And that could be the phone call he was answering earlier in the episode. Could have been his girlfriend being like, hey, why is this account empty? It's because he was paying off his friend's debt. It seems that she's obviously done with him, and you see them sort of break up because of the spirit. The spirit, seeing all this, feels really bad for what he did to his friend, and at first thinks that he can make it up to him right away. He just needs to wake up, and by using the chairman's money, he can get his friend a bigger truck, get him a bigger place to work. But Woo-ju reminds him that that quick fix is kind of what's led him down the path that he has, and also that's the chairman's money, not his, and his friend wouldn't want it that way. Woo-ju says the best thing he can do is go back to the afterlife and now get a grade C since he's now done what he has and invaded someone's body, but to just take the grade, live that reincarnation, and know that your friend's going to live a much better life in the afterlife when he's reincarnated. The spirit agrees and goes to the afterlife. We don't see this part, but it's understood that the issue has been resolved. And before he goes back up, Woo-ju has him throw all the money away that he collected while dreaming, since you don't need money in the afterlife, and I think he's sort of learned his lesson about it. After this, we see Yurin and Kongbei taking a break outside of the store, where Kongbei is thanking Yurin for her help with winning the competition. And as you can see, while Kongbei is talking, Yurin can't fully focus on what he's saying because she can't stop staring at his lips, and I think thinking about kissing him. When Kongbei tries to get her to tell him about what meal her department is going to buy with the prize money, she's startled since she's been spacing out and just looking at his lips, and stands up quickly, which Kongbei then follows suit because he's not done talking. After realizing what he asked, she gives him a kind of like, I don't know, whatever he wants, it's fine answer. And after that, Kongbei tells her that he had a lot of fun, and while he tries to explain how he can't normally do that sort of stuff with people and how he's so grateful for her, Yurin just goes for it and kisses Kongbei, and it is too sweet. She's obviously embarrassed immediately after and runs away. But, I mean, Kongbei didn't run away from her, so that's definitely something new for her, given her track record. So that's good. It's a good sign. That evening, we are taken to a rooftop somewhere, and the guy we saw earlier with Death is there and has a sword. It seems he's tracked down the evil spirit they've been looking for, and we find out that he is way stronger than most spirits. And he takes the guy down pretty easily. Apparently he hasn't been hiding this whole time. He's actually been going after other spirits and devouring them to become more powerful, and we then see him devour the spirit essence or whatever of this afterlife employee. Death at the end of the episode goes to the same rooftop, finding the sword that was left behind, and vows that he will help end the evil spirit's pain. And we find out that the name of the spirit is Won-hyung. Now, I mentioned this scene first because the Mystic Pop-Up Bar gang are having drinks, celebrating their number on the board, their new number, and we see them get drunk and decide to go out for karaoke. And right as they're leaving, Death arrives and is invited to join them. However, they make it seem like it isn't Death, and I'm kind of thinking that it's actually the evil spirit in disguise. Especially since we just saw Death in a totally different outfit in what seems to be around the same time that he appears at the bar So, you know, and the fact that because of Gui, we now know that spirits can change their form sometimes depending on how much essence or energy they have. And since this guy's super energized from devouring other spirits, it could be that that is not death and indeed the other guy. However, this is not confirmed, but they do make it seem ominous. So, and that's how they end the episode. This was a good episode, but nothing really earth-shattering in the writing or story department really happened. And the new information that we got about the evil spirit, I kind of already knew, or we kind of already knew. It's just we finally got a name to the guy. I did love seeing Kangbei dance and him and Yuri kissing. That was just everything. So cute. I mean, just, you know, the close-ups on his lips and his eyes. He's just an adorable, adorable guy. And that little smooch, oh, so cute. But we also didn't get a lot of information about Wuzhu either. You know, like it seemed like Gui was trying to push to have her say, hey, yeah, I loved the Crown Prince and those memories I would like to keep. But it seems that she just won't admit that she cared for the Crown Prince for some reason. So I don't know. It just seems like Gui is trying to get her to admit her feelings about the prince and have her just tell him outright about it. Maybe because there's some sort of stipulation or something that he can't tell her who he really is. Who knows? But I still think that Gui is the Crown Prince, but there was no talk of that in this episode. Like that didn't really exist in the conversation, besides her finding the reincarnation book of all the royalty, which, I mean, if she had read that, maybe it would have said it was Gui, but that was really the only like hint or mention of the Crown Prince besides bringing up the evil spirit. So. And with that, I'm going to end this video. If you liked this recap, please make sure to subscribe and thumb up the video. And this Friday will be the last episode of The King Eternal Monarch, which I will, of course, be recapping and posting, as well as maybe another surprise the next day. So make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on that. And until then, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you stay safe out there, and I'll see you later. Bye. Trying to win that one big store, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not digmatized.